Hi, Isabelle. Welcome to our CommUnity podcast. I didn't figure out yet how I'm going to welcome guests in a standard way. So it's okay. Maybe our thing is that there's no standards, but you're very, very welcome. I'm so happy that we've met, and we'll explain later how we met. But let's start by you introducing yourself, your name, and just saying the name also of your company, and then we'll talk about that.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for having me and giving me the opportunity to introduce me and what I'm doing, what's my calling, and what I want to bring to the world. So I'm Isabelle. I'm founded a company named Lore Belle. And our goal is to support young children to gain self-confidence. And in the end, I hope that they will easily find their calling and live a life they really enjoy because they do what they love. And I founded this company because I had difficulties in my professional life. I switched a lot of jobs. I tried something here and something there. And I think it was good this way. But I discovered that it would have been easier for me if I had the self-confidence that I can do what I want, that I can try, that it's a path. It's not, I don't have to be ready and to know right away. I can go and I can try, explore. And I had this dream when I was a girl. I wanted to be a writer. I really loved it. Yes. I think it's a young girl's dream. And because stories are that what touches us. And so that's what I wanted to do. I want to be a writer. I wanted to write the same stories as Astrid Lindgren did because I love Pippi Langstrumpf and all the beautiful stories she wrote. But I never pursued the dream really because I thought, I can't do this. There's just there are two big female writers I knew when I was younger, like Astrid Lindgren or Joanne K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. And I just thought, okay, there are a million of men out there who made it as an author. How could I, if there are only two women out there? It's a very limited view. But I discovered with that limited view, I limited myself.
You gave up on that.
Yes, I gave up on my dream.
It's not too late. It's not even remotely too late. And I've noticed you, I don't know if you know that, but you are writing, if you are behind your website blog,
yes.
Are you? Okay, so you're doing that already. So, and then maybe you're doing something else on that path as well. But definitely through empowering children, we empower ourselves. So we know now a little bit about you. I know more, so I'm going to try to imagine how is someone who's watching this and listening to this, how are they now gathering their thoughts? So they might be now asking themselves, okay, how does she empower children? What does that mean? And there's a very specific and very attractive form that you chose, and it's unusual. Never heard it before, but I know every parent has it somewhere in their head, but it just doesn't. This what you did, I don't think it exists. So can you explain to us what exactly then do you do to empower children?
Yes. Well, we try to empower them by playing. And especially in a young age, they love to dress up. They love to pick another role. They love to be princess at carnival and stuff like that. And we take this childish love of being someone else and to bring role models into their lives. So we create clothes. And the clothes are designed and inspired by strong women. And so they have a dress they can wear to kind of slip into another role of another person. And we will tell them the story of this person. So they will have a variety of different professions they will get to know and more
get to be. Because
so,
they're good at being something outside of the situation in themselves. Even if you look at the child, even for a second, they don't need the toys sometimes or prompts. They're just, if they're bored, their hands become alive and become these creatures. So just to correct myself, it's not that it doesn't exist. This thing exists, but on a higher commercial level. Like there's Disney, there's all of these well-known commercial paths and cartoons and all the industry, but that's now become a limited choice, kind of. And I feel like you've noticed that children are moving in these borders that are given to them by the industry that also makes good money on it. But what's the message behind those roles? So yes, sometimes they're cool, and now lately in the last few years they're better. There's more diversity in the roles that children can play, but then they're usually not offering any writers or any artists like painters, or they're not offering any scientists as role models or activists or stuff like that. So am I right to say that that's where you come in and you offer like costumes or real clothes?
Yes, they're real clothes, but you can say costumes too.
Okay,
That's a very nice summary, by the way.
And how do you then arrange that? So are there clothing being sold by you in some kind of a shop, or is it custom made? How is it done practically?
So there are different steps we take. The one thing is that we create the pattern. So it's, I think you could say, the design and the construction, and people can sew it themselves. So they create the dress, also they pick the garment they like, and then they give the dress as a present to the younger girls, and they can tell them the story. And we are developing other products, not just for people who love to sew and give it to the children. We also have like a package where you can buy the garment and a book of this person's, as well as the pattern to sew the dress. So you have the combination of a children's book with the story. So the act of giving a present to the child is a bit bigger, because you can introduce the personality with the story, and
there's just more to it then.
It's more to it than it's a combined product of a story and the dress.
So they end up wearing a dress with the pattern, and pattern symbolizes or tells the story of a certain role model, for example.
No, the pattern is just the basis to sew the dress. That's for, I think some people don't know about that, but all of our garments, they're made based on a pattern that's a construction, like a cloth construction. And with those pieces, you sew them together, and in the end you have the final dress. And that's what we sell. We have this pattern, so you can choose, okay, my child has a 104 size, I will make this dress this way, and I pick a beautiful fabric. I know the child loves, maybe favorite color is green by now, then you pick this. And so it's an individualized dress based on the design we constructed.
And you construct the design around what the child likes and what the family wants and what the role model is.
It's more like I'm trying to get to know the person. So, for example, our first pattern was based on Marie Curie. So I read a lot about her. I look at pictures. I think about the fashion back then in the beginning of the 20th century. And then we create a dress in a modern kind of way. So it has different parts from the dresses back then, but it tells a story too. For example, it has long sleeves because Marie Curie, she was in a lab all day, and she had very dangerous material she worked with, and she burned easily. And so the fabric kind of
demonstrates that, follows that storyline
that she was in a lab working all day with a dress, and it's like cut until here to also protect her body from the dangerous materials. And so
it's all for a reason then.
Yes, the design reflects the story of this person, and also the time the person lived in. So the young girls, depending on what age, like for example a 4-year-old girl, that's more difficult to tell a story, but if they get older and if they're in school, there are a lot of stories to tell about that woman, and you can take the dress to explain a lot about the time the person lived in,
and it makes perfect sense, because just about around the time when they realized that the mermaid tail and then having a wings at the same time doesn't really work in the water. It's lovely, and we love that they love it and they have imagination, but it doesn't really function. So they're getting maybe to that age of 9 or 10 where logic kicks in, and then you give them a replacement costume, party, imagination, invitation that also makes sense. So why is the sleeve long or short, or what's the story, what's the reason behind it? And they get to fall in love in the occupation as well. Okay, I get it. I didn't get it before totally. Now I get it. I just want to acknowledge that you and me are now sitting in the Social Innovation Lab in Freiburg here in the, it's called Grünhof. I don't know if I pronounced that right. So we're in Germany. It's a very busy lab, social innovation lab. A lot of people are circulating. It's fun. It's vivid. Everyone's working on a mission. Just now we're having here behind us, and I think it's here in the sound as well. There's a conference. So everyone's creative. Everyone's working on something. You as well are the part of the Social Innovation Lab. Can you tell me a bit more about that, how that happened? And it makes sense. You're a social enterprise, right?
Yes, the goal is to have like a change in the future. That's sometimes a bit difficult to explain, because we now tell girls and boys stories about strong people to try to build their self-confidence. But hopefully it works, but this will be shown in the future. So when they will pick a job, when they go on their professional path, if they have the confidence to pick also maybe something that's not like
industrial.
Yeah, or not the easiest path. Very often an easy path is to pick the same what the parents did, for example, or things you know from your surrounding.
And they expect from you, whatever.
Yes.
People are like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
And the more you know, the easier it is to find your true calling and to do what's inside you. Also, it's important to follow your strength, I think. And because of, I think, this change, we want to provide for the future. We want to create a better future for our children, and not to have the same struggles as maybe we did, or the generations of our parents maybe had even more difficulties, especially women. And this makes it a social enterprise. And I'm still very dependent on people who support me, because the creation of the product takes a long time. It's very complicated, and it's amazing though. I love creating the designs, reading about the women, and we sew a lot of clothes, but it takes a lot of time, and it's still, I would say, a pretty cheap product. And because of this, we have to sell a lot of them to really make a living.
You're having an applause.
Yes.
Yes. And you deserve it. Thank you.
And because of this whole process taking a lot of time, we need support from other people. And the Social Innovation Lab, they liked the idea, and they said they support me with it's a stipendium, a co-working stipendium, so I can come here, work here. And also, it's very good to have the community also sometimes to ask questions. And I'm very grateful when I meet people who have the same struggles, maybe sometimes, so I don't feel alone. Yeah. And I know that there's a way out, and that it's just worth it to keep going, although it's sometimes hard.
Yeah, when we're forced to measure success with some numbers, it gets hard. But you're here, you got the stipendium, the scholarship. You're doing this for a while, and now, as I understand, you're polishing things as it should go. And I know no one says it's an easy process to start anything, but well done, and keep at it. Just to go back a little bit on this concept of the clothing that children wear, and that influences their confidence then later and influences their future. First of all, well done to you and to the parents who notice that that's the case in today's busy world, and that might be a struggle for you to get to the parents. In today's busy world, we just sometimes don't get to think about it, but it's so important. And I want your opinion on something. So you know how, I don't know if it was in Germany like that, but in some countries it was like that. In Ireland, for example, it still mostly is that the children wear these uniforms to school. They're all the same. So it's very cute. But I'm always, and I know it's good for the social kind of comparison. So no one's looking like they're very rich, and then the other child doesn't really have everything. So that's the positive thing. But I think it's very negative in the terms how it influences their individuality, their confidence. I always thought psychology, but confidence is probably the better word. They just seem to all then be kind of falling under same measure, structure. They're just all the same. No individuality. I guess that would be the message that they're getting. What do you think about that? The uniforms. I guess you're against it.
No, I think you already said it. It has 2 points. There's this one thing, like the same clothes, wearing the same clothes forms kind of a unity, community. And I think that sometimes what we forget these days, that individualism and trying to do everything on your own is hard, and that you always need people to support. And I think the idea of not being alone, being in a group, is very important, and sometimes we lose it. And for example, when I talk about the female personalities we're portraying, I always want to talk also about the people behind them. They are successful, and they're in the shine, not what's in the bright light, in the
yes, in the spotlight.
In the spotlight. Yes.
What's that in German? Spotlight.
Oh, I forgot. But I think like there's this one person in the spotlight, but there are a lot of people behind them who supported them. For example, Marie Curie, her father-in-law was actually the one taking care of the household and the kids in the beginning of the 20th century, so she could follow her dream and go to the lab and work as a scientist.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
it's very modern.
Yes, and I think it's amazing, and we need to talk about these people too. And if we only talk about this individualists all the time, this one successful person who's in the media, then we forget that there's a group, and that we need people to support us. We can't do it on our own. I think people are
a tribe.
A tribe, yes. Yeah. That's a very good word. We are tribal people, so we have to go more into that direction. And I think the uniform supports that. And I think some things are easier with a uniform.
So there are more pluses to it than I thought.
Yes, because, for example, yesterday I had... there's a girl, she tries on my dresses when we try to find the right fit. She's 8 years old, and she's in this phase where she wants to show her belly in school.
I know that phase. We know someone who's in that phase.
And I think it's too early for that, and that it's important for the parents to not support that, to support them to dress differently, because they can't understand what it all means. And a uniform, then there's no discussion. It makes it easier. And there's still the private space where they can try dresses, or, I mean, when I say dress, I mean not only dresses like with a skirt, I mean in general clothes. And they can also focus sometimes on the things they like to do. What do they love to play? Like, when are they in the flow? What are their strengths? And they still have this role-playing part when they're, for example, at home and wearing their other clothes. I think it's actually a good thing to have the uniforms, but you need both.
Yeah, I agree. You need both. I'm still not convinced if there could be a mixture, or if they could invite you to the school and get you to kind of, okay, this year's theme is that role model and or that occupation or something. So let's talk about it. But of course, I'm overreacting. That's not maybe possible. What is interesting is that the clothing can be such a powerful conversation starter for children as well. I think they talk about what they're wearing a lot. I know my daughter, she has a custom-made skirt from her, ordered by her godmother. And the skirt is really kind of artistic and has these elements, forests and I don't know, mushrooms on it, and it has her name made by hand by a thread, stitching. And she's very proud of that skirt. And I think she gets asked the question, or she kind of incites the conversation about it. So it's already built in somehow into her identity. So I think you're on such an important path. I never had this conversation with someone who's on a similar path, kind of fashion and style and clothing, and then a social mission with it. And now when fashion is actually very often considered to go against some social goals, like ecology, fast fashion, what it does to our planet. So do you see the future there in kind of storytelling and social goals related to the fashion? Is that the only way to keep the fashion aligned with what this planet needs?
It would be amazing, I think, if this would actually work. I think storytelling is so powerful. That's why I picked it. That's maybe something we haven't said before, but during the first years of a child, maybe from until age of 7, the unconscious is built. So their view of the world is built for the first time, and after that it's very difficult to change their worldview. So it's so important that we support children at that young age. And
7,
until 7.
You did the research on that.
Yes. Okay. So, and that's why I picked also that age group, because I think then we have a lot of power to support them. And now I'm kind of losing what I want to say before.
I asked you about ecology and social mission and future of fashion.
Fast fashion, yes. I think we have to understand that clothes are more than just not being naked, to say so. I think they transport a lot of... they also tell a story. Like, for example, now I'm wearing, like, it's one of my favorite trousers, a dungaree, and I think it tells a story too. I'm not wearing like a blazer and like this business kind of style. I'm wearing something also a bit playish, or playful, and I think that's also like
how you show up.
Yes, so I'm wearing this dungaree because my Botschaft, my mission, is to say this is the playful thing. That's I want to be a bit individualistic and also a little bit different, and clothes can tell a lot. And I think sometimes we have to remember that we tell a story with what we wear. And I see a lot of people wearing a lot of sporty clothes. For example, this shirt is very sporty too. And sometimes I miss the dresses from, I would say, from decades before.
Elegance.
Not only elegance, but if you're really in love with a piece and with clothes, then you love to wear them. And that's the thing I also want to support. If you love your clothes, if they are a right fit, if they are a good fit, if that's a good garment, then you wear them a lot. And I think most of the people, they buy clothes and they wear them maybe twice during their lifetime. It's really, I think, a horrible thing. And also, fast fashion is also part of the climate change. And if you really think about what you wear, it suits your personality, you love it for different reasons, then this is slow fashion. And sewing is slow fashion because it takes a long time effort to sew the clothes. And like when I started this, I have a very different approach to fashion now. And I think a lot about what I wear, what kind of fabric. And I hope we develop ourselves in that direction a little bit, that
we go
We
a step
appreciate
back.
it more. Yes.
The way it was.
Yes.
It used to be expensive. It used to be slow in the production. It used to mean something. It used to be maybe a better quality. And maybe we missed those times,
Yes.
but we actually have to now go back to them. And then I just thought of something as you were saying these things that, so a child of 7 years old, and let's say she gets a dress and she loves it. And then she grows out of it. But she already tied memories to it, stories. She was told a story when she was gifted that dress. And then what probably will happen is that the family and the child together will keep the dress and maybe in the future sometimes unpack it. So straight away, it's like a little mini education course towards this attitude that's slow fashion again. So bringing it back. And it's an emotional thing, and it's doing multiple things actually, connecting the family, creating nice memories. Is that something you knew would happen, or did you find that maybe it hasn't been a long enough time for that to happen? Children haven't grown, but what do you think if that happens? Would it make you happy? Would you incorporate that into your mission?
I thought about that slow fashion part, that I would love that when it doesn't fit anymore, that I would just give it to someone else who can love it for
that.
That's what I thought. And I also thought about maybe having a platform where people can exchange their dresses and stuff. But that's maybe an idea for the future. I think it's very important with my project that everybody's on board in the family. We need an adult to offer that approach, to talk about maybe the personality the dress is based on, and we need the combination. And I love to talk about the personalities I read about because I learn a lot from them, and I'm in my mid-30s, but I learn a lot from them, and I think that's very important. Not only children learn from them, but we learn as well, and we are a role model too.
Okay, so thank you for explaining this all. Especially, I love the talk about the mission and what it means and what it could become. For the latest bit, I wanted to ask you now about the, again, I can't remember the word, but not a subtitle, but a slogan. Slogan. We talked about that earlier, but just for the audience as well. You have 2 slogans. Could you explain them to us? Tell us what they are.
Yes, I have one. It's kind of a subtitle of Lore Belle. It's called Epic Patterns for Unique Kids. And it's kind of a word play. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah. Wortspiel in German.
Yeah. Same.
And epic patterns means pattern are the pieces to sew, but a pattern could also be a pattern for life, a path where you go. And epic is kind of a combination for me that they're very special designs, but epic as like a reference also to story. And I think Unique Kids is very easy to explain. That's the first slogan, Epic Patterns for Unique Kids.
Powerful.
And then I have kind of a motto that's also like a very like powerful motto I also want to bring to the world. And in German it's Lass dich inspirieren und schreib deine Geschichte selbst. In English it means something like be inspired and own your narrative.
Own it. It's even better. So just to make a little difference, in German it's write it. So that's also very cool. Write your story. But this is good in the English version. It's own it. So write it and own it. So your own story, you're in charge.
Yes. Yeah, in German, it's the kind of because write your story, and we are telling stories, and own your narrative. I think it has the strong that you can take control over your story. You can lead your path. You can do it. You have to have the courage to go, and then you have a beautiful future.
Wow. Imagine if someone, I don't know if it did, but imagine hearing that when you're 7. Did you hear that when you were 7? I didn't. I heard it maybe in the opera show. Or she wasn't that then in that stage of empowerment. It was more like gossip. But I never really heard it directed towards me. And then I certainly never wore it like, I'm me. Very good. Thank you. It's amazing that there's such a mission connected to this social enterprise, such possibility of the impact. I'm glad that we had this conversation. I would like to have it again, maybe in 6 months, to see how other plans are evolving. Stop hitting the microphone. Thank you for being one of the pioneers in our podcast. And would you like to come back again?
Yes, of course. It was really amazing. You gave me great insights in what I'm doing too. And had wonderful summaries. And it's very important for me to see that other people like my idea, because I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm doing it for others. So that's when there are people liking the idea, that makes me very happy.
Amazing. That's what this is all about, like giving positive feedback or constructive feedback. And I already mentioned it to you. I think I know some communities in other countries as well, such as Ireland, that would love this idea. So we need to talk to them about it and how to impact sustainability with it, the future of our children with it. Great stuff. Thank you so much. We were hoping for one applause there, but we can add it later. Thanks a lot. Talk to you again then.
Thank you very much. Have a good time.
Thank you too.